Hi, I'm Julia Kennedy and I'm President of Canadian Business College. Join us in conversations to understand how we can help you find a new career and success in your life.
I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and I'm having a great day here in Mississauga, Ontario, talking to some wonderful folks here at the Canadian Business College. You know, things are happening here. There's little doubt about it. Lives are being transformed. There's people are really leaning into it. The one thing that strikes me at the heart is that people refer to this place as home, and they talk about things like family when they refer to it, which means there's good things happening. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do here.
So I'm Dean Tremain. I'm the Vice President of Enrollment, Marketing and Strategic Initiatives. So I look after the admissions side and the marketing and the branding of the business. And I also focus on a lot of our external partnerships and our larger scale initiatives that we do that obviously work in tandem with Canadian Business College holistically.
Dean, let's start up high and maybe we'll come back down to it here, but let me get your philosophy on sort of where the college fits into the larger academic ecosystem.
Well, as you know, Ontario has a very large post-secondary education sector. You know, we have a lot of public colleges, we have a lot of public universities, we have a lot of career colleges. There's around 700 career colleges in Ontario. So, you know, our 3 Canadian Business College campuses fit into a little bit portion of that. But holistically, it's really focused more on sort of the straight path to a new career, reskilling, upskilling, sort of transitioning your life. Mm-hmm. You know, and you could be coming from a career that you loved or moved on from or unable to do anymore, or you've transitioned to Canada and you want to find a new sort of life or a new path. And the career colleges are accessible. They're in marketplaces and geography that sometimes allows people to get to them and participate in, you know, what they offer a little bit more than maybe going to some of the key strategic public sector areas. Ultimately, in the end, you know, everybody works in tandem to try and create a labor force and, you know, and a workforce that is going to meet the employer needs and obviously meet the labor, you know, the labor needs that we see in Ontario. And as we know, that's very diverse. So
the college certainly is very accessible, as you say. You're kind of built right into the communities that you serve. But the other thing that really strikes me is that you're very respectful of people's time and their resources, and you narrow in on the needs. Talk to me about the importance of that.
Well, the key thing with the career college model and with Canadian Business College is we focus on specific programs that, you know, meet those outcomes from a labor market perspective. But inside the overall programs, courses are intended to meet specifically that outcome. So we sometimes don't focus on the things that may be creating more diversity and knowledge. We're focusing on things that are going to get you right to that career. Mm-hmm. So the goal in any career college model is to try and find a program design that really sort of helps people understand how to be better or more equipped to perform the career when it's done. So it's really specific, maybe than you might see in traditional models where they're trying to have a more diverse education, which also has its fit.
You know, and that speaks to me that you really need to be in tune with community and industry needs. You need to be collaborative in your approach to understand those needs, and then agile in your approach to meet those needs. Talk to me about the importance of that collaboration and that agility required.
Well, the perfect word is agile. And the reason for that is because if something changes within a certain marketplace, then we need to be able to change the program to meet that marketplace, especially the needs. And so agility becomes extremely important in everything we do, not necessarily about getting people to go to school and be done quicker, but to be done maybe more efficiently. Mm-hmm. So when we look at programs, we really need to have that agility and that ability to diversify quickly or pivot. You know, let's use the term made, you know, famous from COVID, but you know, we want to be able to pivot or move in the direction that's going to fit what that employer needs ultimately, or what the Ontario marketplace looks for. So anytime that we sort of get handcuffed or we get sort of bogged down in those changes, then it obviously causes us a bit of an interruption. It's also difficult for us to be agile and nimble if we have, you know, certain barriers or obstacles that get in our way. So we really try to sort of look ahead, do program advisory committee meetings, get feedback from the labor market and from the key stakeholders, and then sort of reverse engineer what a program needs to look like.
Right. And the other thing I like about it is you're not looking like 10 years out. You're looking at what do we need now and how do I solve this problem now? Talk to me about the importance of that.
Well, I mean, we know that right now, even the way the Ontario marketplace is, that we need people. We need good people into the, there's lots of things going on, whether it's infrastructure and construction, whether it's IT, whether it's digital marketing and media, healthcare obviously is just pinnacle in not just the province, but in Canada as a whole. So there's all these different needs that are there, and there's just not enough time and space within the public sector to meet all those outcome needs. So we work in tandem, whether they believe it or not, to sort of help get those gaps all filled. So, no matter how we decide to, to interpret what a career college does versus other forms of education, when we look at it at the end of the day, there really is still about one thing: taking somebody, allowing them to pick their path based on what they feel they'd be, most interested in doing, and helping them get along the path, get to the end, and then sort of move forward from there. I think it's a challenge for everybody to change something in their life. And going to school is not easy, but being applied and taking the time really does allow them to sort of focus and move in that direction.
And on that note, school is not easy. Let's go from a 30,000 look. Let's get right down into the college here. You're right, school is not easy, but the Canadian Business College has a way to work with the person to drop the barriers, easy access in, so they can take all of that away to learn, and then you put them in front of instructors and coaches that have real industry knowledge and give them exactly what they need. Talk to me about the importance of that, making it easy to come in, and that learning from people that have really done the business.
Yeah, so I think the learning model is a little bit different because we don't maybe necessarily prescribe to a traditional way of delivering education. You're not going for a semester, loading your semester with 4 or 5 courses, taking the schedules at different times of the day. Our schedules are what I would call linear modular. So basically your schedule is fixed for your entire time here. We start at week 1 and you go to whatever your end week would be, whether it's 48 weeks, 38 weeks, 50 weeks. And so through that time frame, you focus on one key program at a time. Sorry, one key course in a program at a time. So let's say it's business management, and let's say one of the courses in that program is human resources, which it is. And if it's a 40-hour program or a 60-hour program, you're going to go, if your schedule is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., you're going 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every single day. You're going to focus only on human resources for those 40 or 60 hours, so 2 or 3 weeks, and then you'll do the projects, you'll do the exams, quizzes, the things that are in there to pass, fail, and then you are able to move on from that. If you're not successful, we create the opportunity for you to do what you need to do to get academic restitution, so to speak. But the outside piece of it is, once you move from that, then you get to focus on the next thing. So sometimes our students have complicated lives. They're already an older, more mature family, possibly, so they're already dealing with complications. So we try to minimize that, let them focus for those hours. If you know what your schedule it is, it allows you to work around it, so you're not trying to manage, well, I'm 9 to 12 on Monday, and Wednesday I have to go 1 to 4, and so we try to get those barriers out of the way that allow people to manage their lives, first off. Secondly, we try to make it so that if we get the minimum qualifications you need to qualify to go to school, we just want to make sure those opportunities are available. So we try to support and turn the page for people so that they don't feel like they get stuck on a page. So if we can create those opportunities with less barriers, as you mentioned, a little bit more flexible in their lifestyle, and more importantly, something that focuses on a specific outcome, we feel that's a little bit easier for a more mature learner.
And then you get the great privilege, of course, of watching them graduate. You get the great privilege of seeing a nervous person, maybe unsure, trying to figure this stuff out at the beginning, take them through this journey, and then you get them to graduation. What does that feel like for you?
Well, I've had the benefit of being involved in many, many graduations, throughout my tenure within the career college sector. Canadian Business College is very unique because, it's obviously something that I'm quite passionate about. We had our first in-person graduation in October last year, and that's the first one we'd had in person since COVID. So it kind of was a very new experience or a renewed experience. So you get in there and there's now 200-300 grads plus their families. We got a theater full of 800 people, picture taking, people walking across the stage, people so excited they don't know what to do with themselves. But the smiles, the energy, the people going to their instructors and saying thank you, wanting their whole family to take a picture with an instructor, wanting to take a picture with the valedictorian. You know, she spoke with you earlier today, and it was interesting how she was saying to us that so many people she didn't know from Canadian Business College went and wanted to take pictures with her because she was the valedictorian of the year they graduated. So, you know, it goes back to those words that were mentioned earlier that you said, you know, family, and I sometimes look at it as, are we truly a family or are we just invested in each other? And I think that's both, you know, and it's just a matter of these people being invested in themselves. Very difficult at times, as you've mentioned. It's not easy to go to school, take care of your kids, do these things, plus learn new content, plus have to do projects, plus do exams. It can be complicated, but that commitment comes full circle. And when you get to graduation, that's when everybody really gets a chance to say, I did it, I made it.
These students are very impressive and courageous people for doing these things. You know, I've had the great privilege of meeting some of your teammates here. Tell me what the staff here means to you. Well,
the one thing for sure that we try to do differently at Canadian Business College is we like to be culture focused. So for us, our team means everything. You know, as an owner and a senior executive, I can't do anything without the team. You know, I bring probably very little to the team. It's the team themselves that bring everything to Canadian Business College. They drive the daily sort of operation. They keep the students engaged. They're working with those people to make sure that they're prepared to go to school, whether it's, you know, understanding if it's the right program fit for them, going through the qualification process and the admissions process, through the financing. I've always said that every career college graduate and every CBC graduate is graduated by a village. So it doesn't matter whether it's the marketing team that creates the opportunity for someone to get exposed to Canadian Business College, through the admissions, through finance, through the instruction in the classroom, through the career services, all the way through to the employer that hires them at the end. It's a lot of people that put their hands on that moment, and that's one individual, and take that times hundreds. So it's a very labor-intensive love, but this team means everything to us and would be impossible to do it without them.
All of those things that you describe, so eloquently described from start to finish, a lot of people leaning in to make sure that people are successful, but all of that doesn't happen without solid leadership, so thank you for your leadership.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. For more information, join us at www.canadianbusinesscollege.com. Thank you.